show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Blog Talk Radio.
Hey there, Detroit sports fanatics. I'm Taylor Phillips, and welcome to Taylor's Detroit Sports Show on Blog Talk Radio. It is Thursday, May 14th, 2015. If anybody has any opinions, calling it questions or comments, calling it 646-478-4837. That is 646-478-4837. You can follow me on Twitter at DT2Phillips. That is at DT2Phillips, and add me on Facebook, like my Facebook page, Taylor Phillips's Detroit Sports page, and join my group, Taylor Phillips's Detroit Sports Group. I'm also streaming, simulcasting on Ustream.tv and Google Plus Hangouts. With me, as always, as usual, is my co-host, Ed Smith. How you doing, Ed?
Doing fine. This Taylor, how about yourself this fine evening?
Pretty good. Had a Zumba tone class at 5:30 at Anytime Fitness in Cadillac, and then I had myself a bacon crust deep dish pizza from Little Caesars afterwards, and I listened to the Griffins game and watched the Cavaliers Bulls game, the Rockets and Clippers game. Yep, Rockets and Clippers are going at it right now in Los Angeles at Staples Center, but let's get to the Tigers first. They cruise over the Minnesota Twins 13-1. Miguel Cabrera opened the scoring with an RBI single to center, making it 1-0. Jonas Cespedes got an RBI sacrifice fly, making it 2-0. And Rajay Davis picked up an RBI double, scoring J.D. Martinez to make it 3-0. After one inning of play, we go to the bottom of the third. Jose Iglesias grounded out, scoring Nick Castellanos. Iglesias gets an RBI. It's 4-0 after 3. The Twins would get on the board on an RBI single by Eduardo Escobar, but that was all they get as Sanchez, after a brief chat with Jeff Jones, gets the next batter to ground into a 4-6-3 double play to end the top of the fourth, and it would stay 4-1 until the fifth inning, when Nick Castellanos goes the other way with a solo home run off the railing in right center field, making it 5-1. Ian Kinsler hit a double that almost went into the bullpens for a home run, but Miguel Cabrera showed him how it's done. He just elevated a pitch with a soft swing, and it carried it over the bullpen and into the seats for a 2-run jack in the bottom of the sixth, making it 7-1. The Tigers would add another in the sixth on a ground rule double, scoring Jonas Cespedes by Brian Holiday, making it 8-1. That was a 3-run sixth inning. The Tigers would score 3 more runs in the seventh on back-to-back triples by Anthony Gose and Ian Kinsler, and then Miguel Cabrera goes the other way with another 2-run home run to right, through the railing and into the seats, probably under the railing, but it still bounced into the seats somehow. That made it 11-1. And then they weren't even done yet. Brian Holiday would produce a couple more runs with a 2-run home run out of his own into the Tigers bullpen, scoring Rajay Davis. That made it 13-1, and that's how it would stand. Anibal Sanchez pitched 8 innings, gave up only the 1 run on 5 hits, only walked 1 and struck out 9. A solid outing from him, decreasing his ERA to 4.76. Al Albuquerque pitched a 1-2-3 ninth inning to seal the 13-1 win. No hits, no walks, no nothing, just one strikeout, decreasing his ERA to 6.17. Tigers take 2 out of 3 from the Minnesota Twins. They are now back to 2 games up on the Twins for second place in the AL Central. Still 1 game behind the Kansas City Royals for first place. Tigers are 21-14. Twins are 19-16, and the Royals are 22-13. And they get ready to go to St. Louis and take on the Cardinals at Busch Stadium starting tomorrow night at 8:15, Saturday at 2:15, and Sunday night at 8:05 on ESPN. The 2:15 game is also on Fox Sports Detroit, as is the 8:15 game tomorrow night. That's on a Friday. David Price will take on. Wait, that's Saturday. Shane Green will take on Carlos Martinez, and then David Price will take on Lyons. What's his first name? Come on, load. Tyler Lyons. With no record and a 4.82 ERA. Came off the slide and got a no decision Sunday night. David Price is 3-1. Shane Green is 3-2, and I believe Alfredo Simon pitches on Sunday night. It's about time. And today it's about time the Tigers offense came alive. In fact, they exploded. Miguel Cabrera went back to his old self again, knocking 2 two-run home runs and finishing with 5 RBIs, knocking in 5 runs. Brian Holiday has also been an X factor, chipping in for James McCann, who needed a day off after taking one behind the plate when filling in for an injured Alex Avila. And Jose Iglesias got himself a couple more hits. He finished. He finished with. He finished 1 for 5. He finished 1 for 5, rather, but he's still 351. Holiday went 3 for 5. Castellanos finished 2 for 3. Rajay Davis finished 3 for 5. Cespedes was about the only Tiger starting hitter without a hit. He scored a run and walked 1, and he struck out once. And his batting average is .267.
Well, as for today, I think it was definitely greatly needed. After one, you had a very bad outing last night, the night before, and 2, over the past few games, you've had your offense has been very stagnant, averaging sometimes 1 or 2 runs at most that you could score. So for them to go off like this was very, very pleasantly welcomed, a very pleasant surprise as well. Very nice to see Cabrera showing obviously what he's always capable of, going back, showing somewhat of the MVP form that we've seen in recent years. Very nice to see JD Martinez out there after I consider to be a bit of a scare last night, entering the game early. Came back stronger than today, had about a couple of singles, so continuing his warm to hot streak with his bat recently, and that's greatly needed because you need to pick up where a couple of guys may not have been producing, i.e. Victor Martinez or Yoenis Cespedes, in terms of offensively producing hits. So that was great to see. Brian Holiday, what a talk about. I mentioned before with McCann trying to make the best of your opportunity that he got. Holiday did that in spades today. So it was very good to see him pull that off, knowing that he would have to be the starter since McCann just pitched the night before. I mean, not pitched, but caught the night before. Mm-hmm. And he'll be doing that for the foreseeable future as long as the deal is on the DL. So it was a very good outing for Holiday, definitely. Sanchez, even though he had got himself in a bit of a jam in the fourth inning, he got the first, he let the first two base runners on, eventually let it run, and even runners on the corners will run out. Like you mentioned, after the mound visit with Jeff Jones, he settled down, got that double play, desperately badly needed, but greatly welcomed. And it was no save from there. He was never in any semblance of trouble the rest of the way, and he was able to go full 8 innings, and he was able to come out at his pace and his terms. Very nice to see for Sanchez on that end, but I'm sure he felt very comfortable by seeing his offense strike first and put him in a better groove to start out with, give him a lead to start with, as we've seen, instead of the other way around that we've seen with these other teams and the Tigers over recent games. So you add that with mostly everybody getting good at bats and our well-known bats trying to form little, our starting pitcher giving a great performance of his own right, not trying to make this a purely slugfest or anything. And then it was just a all-around, well-performed game from the team today. That was great to see, especially one, you take 2 out of 3 of this series, and it gives you good momentum as much as possible going to another series, especially one against a different team from a different league starting tomorrow night. So we'll see if you can help keep that up in terms of trying to keep up with the Royals. So it remains to be seen, but a very good win and a very well-performed game by the Tigers today.
Most people have said that if Miguel Cabrera gets his bat going, and so does the rest of the Tigers' offense. But my point is, the Tigers scored 13, produced 13 runs without Victor Martinez in the starting lineup. They just so did not need Victor Martinez at all today. This was like a preview of like a preview of them of the team putting Victor on the DL, which is what would have been.
Yeah. And I'd also say another thing you could mention of how, while granted they got a few dingers, mostly from Cabrera and of course from Castellanos and Holiday, the majority of the runs, it wasn't just from the long ball, it was through other ways of methods. It would be advancing runners, like doing hit and runs like early on, like Kisla did with Goats on base. It was Rajay Davis hitting a line drive double by somehow hitting a ball that was clearly down and low, but still matched off the plate. Rajay swung it and managed to get a double. Cabrera's first home run was looking on the replay, it looked like a golf shot out of nowhere, but he managed to power it home there. So you come up right. It was that sort of things, hidden runs, moving guys over, sack flies, singles, doubles here. It wasn't just the long ball, greatly helped, but the Tigers, they showed it doesn't have to depend on waiting on that 2 to 3 run big fly come out of nowhere to beat you. They can beat you with the little things along the way too. So it was great to see that happen.
646-478-4837 is the number to call. Again, that number is 646-478-4837. Keep your content clean, name, city, and state, and stay on the line until we get to you. Follow me on Twitter at DT2Phillips. Follow Ed Smith on Twitter at EdSmith313. Tigers take on the Cardinals tomorrow, starting tomorrow at 8:15. Shane Green taking on Carlos Martinez in the first of a 3-game series. The Cardinals are just one of the best teams in baseball right now. Looking at the standings, let's see. Cardinals are 24-10, 5 games ahead of the second-place Chicago Cubs, who are 19-15. The Cardinals have won their first consecutive game. I might say they won 6 out of their last 10, but 24-10 is still a good record for the St. Louis Cardinals.
That's more than good. It's pretty damn great if you ask me. That's one of the best records in the league for sure. Their division leader, and as you can tell, it'll be a tough I always figured it was going to be a tough series from the get-go because one is on the road, and two, the Cardinals always find a way to, like, even at the end of the season, be one of those teams that can make a deep playoff run if need be. So I knew this was going to be a tough test, but now seeing them have a great start to the season as they have in the first 30-plus games, we'll see. I want to see how the Tigers can do against other competition from the National League. Because if they can do that, it can give me a barometer of how they would do in a other scenario, i.e. a World Series scenario. Not that I'm going that far, but it always doesn't hurt to think about that possibility. So knowing that, especially with that, there's going to be a Sunday night game. Once again, national spotlight on the Tigers again. As well as from my area, doing the MLB network telecast of the Friday night game tomorrow night at 8. So a lot of viewers will be getting their chance to see what this Tigers team is made of this first couple of months. So if they can perform well, or at least well enough, and not get embarrassed, it could give some mental kudos, mental motivation rather, to how you potentially do in a World Series setting and format and situation.
Oh, you mean how I would? What kind of motivation would I give the Tigers if they play in the World Series? You mean?
Yeah, especially if, say for instance, Verlander comes back and at least be more helpful contributing instead of being fearful. At least I fear perceived to me as a guy that's finally, decreasing in terms of he'll never be in his true prime, which is true. But I think if he can be more contributing and help, take the load off David Price, other offensive guys coming, Cabrera, Cespedes, both Martinez guys, that sort of thing. Even though we haven't yet up a manager in Brad Ausmus, I think we still have other things that you could still take minute and still take care of. But even still, you start to fix with things like David Dombrowski, please fix the bullpen. But if you find a way to take 2 out of 3 here against a club like St. Louis, it'll give me high hopes where if you're rolling on full cylinders come October, then maybe, just maybe, you could have a chance to do something on the big stage when everybody in the whole world will be watching, i.e. the World Series.
Very good point, Ed. If the Tigers, if somehow the Tigers reach the World Series, this upcoming matchup could and should be a preview. Moving on to the Grand Rapids Griffins, they just beat the Rockford Icehogs 2-1 in overtime. Tyler Bertuzzi scored both goals, including the game winner, just 13 seconds in to the extra frame. Philip Danow tied the game with 10:59 left in the second. Zengerle and Andy Mealy each got 2 assists. They both assisted on. They both each assisted on both of Bertuzzi's goals. So the Griffins have a 3-1 series lead now in the Western Conference semifinals in the 2015 Calder Cup playoffs. Game 5 does not begin until Sunday at 5 late afternoon, when the Griffins try to wrap their series up. The winner of this series will move on to play the Oklahoma City Barons, between the Oklahoma City Barons and the Utica Comets in the Western Conference Finals. And now to other news. The Lions hired 3 men into their front office, including Scott McEwen as senior personnel executive, Lance Newmark as the director of college scouting, and Cedric Saunders as the senior vice president of football operations. Plus the Lions have signed defensive lineman Corey Wooton to a 1-year deal. It's a veteran, that is. And what's your brief analysis on both those notes, Ed?
Well, yeah. First and foremost, good job for the Griffins. You know, keep doing what you do, keep kicking butt, and keep winning games. As for the Lions, I can't really focus so much on as I would consider minor front office hires like that. If it was something big, like say involving the GM or the president, okay, fine, whatever. But if you know, I guess congrats to them on getting a good job. They'll pay money for them, I guess. As long as you can represent the team and the organization on the front, outside the office, that's good, because you don't want to be getting into any DUIs down the line. But
of course not.
As far as where's the Mentos? Now, as for the on the field signing, I kind of understood why they did this, because like we mentioned before, not only did you lose Ndamukong Suh, you also lost Nick Fairley. So getting just Haloti-Ngata, good addition in my view. Good name to have, but it's not going to fix all your trouble. So you're going to need all the help you can get in trying to make sure that defensive line doesn't underperform extreme compared to, and at least bump it into a slight underperformance, because you're just not going to replace Ndamukong Suh. It's like a once in a lifetime, one in a million type of thing to get that type of talent on your squad. They've messed up the boat big time by not trying to pursue it enough, in my view, trying to resign him, but that's in the past now. You got Naka, you still have Ziggy Ansah on the end. We'll see what you can do. Like what we've seen so far, great to see, and in the draft, obviously, it should be one of the big priorities, in my view, should be, let's see what we can do with what's left of the defensive line. No, it won't be that formidable, entity as it was when Sue was here, but let's try to make it into something that's adequate. Just adequate, not terrible, something that can stop the run on crucial third and short situations, something that on occasion can get at the quarterback when we need the quarterback to get at, and just take pressure off of our secondary, which I feel like they've also made some moves in the past couple days as well. So, I think they definitely felt they had their offensive DNA, the DNA of their offensive scheme rather for this year, figured out what the moves and strategy at the draft. Now they're trying to focus more on this offseason and, okay, let's get our defensive ducks in order so that, granted, yes, we lost Sue, big loss, as well as it was unfairly. Let's not let those two departures cripple us, as some experts may think it will. So those are my thoughts on that one.
I almost forgot to mention that's the Grand Rapids Griffins' first playoff win on the road in this year's Calder Cup playoffs. But yeah, I agree with as for Corey Wooten, I agree with your point. Not going to be enough. You're going to get all the defensive help you can get on the defensive line. You do have to replace Ndamukong Suh and Nick Fairley and all. And you got to fill the whole defensive line and offensive line as well. They're also trying to work on more of the secondary defense as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, granted, you can't fix everything up with every single move in one off season, even one season, to be realistic. But if you take care of the minor things at proper points, maybe you could be close to a complete team as you want to be when the season starts. So let's hope they can do that at least.
All right, two more notes before we go in. Call in, it's 646-478-4837. That number again is 646-478-4837. Follow me on Twitter at DT2Phillips. Follow Ed Smith at EdSmith313 on Twitter. The Michigan State Spartans football team has recruited yet another three-star player, offensive lineman Gavin Cupp, and Red Wings Hall of Famer Gordie Howe has announced the construction of his new self-named international bridge from USA to Canada. It's called the Gordie Howe International Bridge. Also, he will have a second round of stem cell treatments in Mexico next month. That is June. Gordie Howe last winter had a stroke, and it was still ongoing until he finally survived. Gordie Howe just as he ages, he's just starting to feel more ill by each moment.
Yeah, and it was definitely tough when he went through his stroke last year, late last year. You saw the tributes and the adulades and the short pieces and the admiration coming from everywhere. Especially noted what I saw from Keith Olbermann, what he did on his ESPN2 show, giving us updates on Mr. Howe's condition, especially the positive news when he made his healing. It's obviously another factor that, he's a tough old dude, and it's not going to be, right, you're not going to take him out that easy or whatever the case may be. I know it's cliche to say, but it's shown, and it's a very tremendous honor, without doubt, for Mr. Howe to get this bridge recognized in his name. Also great for him to receive this while he's still here with us, so it makes it even more special. So best of luck and best wishes to Mr. Hockey as he continues his road to recovery.
He has been a legend. He was a Hall of Famer, and he's been an icon to this Red Wings franchise for almost a century.
Well, to the city of Detroit, basically.
Yeah, definitely.
Granted, obviously, I wasn't alive back then, but I'm pretty sure, if the roles were reversed, because in terms of my list of favorite Red Wings, and I'm just making it on personal preference because I lived and see it with my own eyes. I got Steve Yzerman 1, Gordie Howe 2. I'm pretty darn sure though, if I lived and was around to see Mr. Howe's prime years in full bloom and lived through and experienced through it the way those folks in that time period did, I'm sure the roles will be reversed. But that's nothing to take away from his talent, his ability, his toughness, everything he brought to that team, that franchise, and of course that city throughout his entire playing career. So a legend, certified icon, and a true mythical figure in the world of hockey.
And Gordie Howe used to have a restaurant in Traverse City called Gordie's. Yeah, that was developed in late of 2000, and then it closed, and then it closed in 2004 because of the season canceling lockout, canceling the 2004-2005 season. Yeah, that was very tragic. It changed its name to something else, and it was just like a Mexican restaurant or something like that. I'm gonna miss Gordie's.
Yeah, it reminds me of a nearby place, if we still got time, the Chris Chili.
90 seconds.
Chili bar, right? He had one downtown. He also had one near and around the Dearborn area. That was one I went to more often than not, and I was a little bit sad to see that one close down in recent years, too, like around 2011, 2012, 2013, that sort of thing. So I could definitely identify with your feelings, your sentiments on when Mr. Howe's restaurant closed down. I just thought it was an interesting parallel and similarity that reminded me of.
60 seconds.
All right, we got about a minute left. Speaking of hockey, the Rangers and Lightning dropped the puck in the Eastern Conference Finals Saturday at 1 on NBC. Conference Finals get underway. Ducks and Blackhawks apparently beginning Sunday in the Western Conference Finals. And I can hardly wait for those. Ed, great to talk to you. Talk to you tomorrow night at 11:30 tomorrow night because the Tigers are taking on the Cardinals at 8:15.
Yep. All right, take care, Taylor. Take care, everybody else.
Thank you, Ed. And this is Taylor Phillips saying TTFN, ta-ta for now. Talk to you again at 11:30.
using blog